For over half a century, we thought that this seal had been hunted to extinction. Then, a group of scientists made an unbelievable discovery in the 60s. A small colony of 20 seals was found on this tiny isolated island in Chile. The species was brought back to life in the following decades. Across that time, their population grew 800 times bigger. And now, the third largest marine park ever created will ensure that they never disappear again. And this is just one of the many good news stories from today. From protecting birds worldwide, to clearing an entire country of landmines, to a massive drop in child mortality. I'm Freddy, and here are the best good news stories of the month. Now, let's continue with the news that Chile has created the third largest marine park in the world. About 300 years ago, the population of the Juan Fernández fur seal was booming. You can only find this creature on a group of islands off the coast of Chile. Then, humans started to hunt it for its fur and meat and nearly made it extinct. But scientists rediscovered them in the 60s, and since then, they have slowly been recovering. There are now around 16,000 in the wild. And it looks like things are improving even more. In a survey, 98% of islanders voted in favor of expanding environmental protections. So, last September, fishermen sent a conservation plan to the president of Chile. And he listened. In his last act as head of state, he created the third largest marine protected area in the world. The new government that came into power in March has said that it will honor the agreement and pass it. Now, an area the size of Finland, centered around the Juan Fernández Islands, and another marine park will be protected. This means no fishing will be allowed more than 12 kilometers off the coast. By doing so, over 50% of Chile's waters will be secured. By the way, in 2018, the Juan Fernández fur seal was classified as a species with a low risk of extinction. Which brings us to our next story. Migratory birds have also received strong new protections. So, what exactly is a migratory bird? These are birds that cross entire continents and oceans every year to breed or to spend the winter in warmer climates. Take the Arctic tern, for example. Every year, it flies all the way from Greenland to the Weddell Sea in Antarctica and back. That's a journey of around 90,000 kilometers, which is about the same as flying around the Earth twice. In fact, over its lifetime, a single Arctic tern flies the equivalent of going to the moon and back 3 times. During its journey, the tern passes through something called marine flyways. Think of them like bird highways. They cut across multiple countries as well as international waters not governed by anyone. And that's where things get tricky. It's hard to coordinate and enforce rules that protect the entire route. About 3 years ago, the charity BirdLife identified 6 major bird highways. And recently, it just got a whole lot easier to protect them. In 1979, the CMS was established to conserve migratory birds. Today, 2/3 of the world's nations are members. And in March, the CMS had its 15th meeting in Brazil. All 133 member states have formally recognized all 6 bird highways for the first time. And this is big. Countries can now finally coordinate and protect these routes as a whole. These include detailed conservation plans for specific species like these. Another focuses on birds of prey, like the snowy owl and the steppe eagle. Now, all countries will create safe zones in the key areas where these birds live. Now, for our next story, in most of the EU, forests are growing faster than they are being cut down. In most EU countries, forests grew faster than they were cut down in 2023. That's according to the most recent data published by Eurostat. The largest growth levels came from Romania. It saw a net increase of 40 million cubic meters of trees. That's roughly the same amount the Polish wood industry cuts each year. Romania is also one of the countries in Europe that has some of the last ancient forests. Some of these ecosystems are over 11,000 years old, dating back to the end of the last ice age. They support huge biodiversity and give us a rare glimpse into what our past looked like. Romania still has a lot of this ancient forest left, an area roughly twice the size of Luxembourg or slightly larger than Rhode Island. Bears, wolves and lynx still roam this untouched wilderness. But this wilderness is being threatened by corruption. the Romanian government frequently gives permission to criminals to cut down protected forests. Between 2021 and 2024, illegal loggers destroyed an area of forest the size of Hong Kong. That's why Planet Wild went on a mission to protect these precious ecosystems. They have partnered with a local organization called Agent Green that investigates illegal logging, take the government to court, and win. So far, Agent Green protected an area equal to 175 New York Central parks. But this is dangerous work, and Agent Green needs all the help it can get. Criminal gangs will go to any length to exploit the forest, including murder. So, last year, Planet Wild stepped in with new tech. They funded these small, hidden devices with 360 degrees microphones. These can detect chainsaws from up to a kilometer away and alert rangers in real time via satellite. Using AI, these devices also identify animal sounds, helping build a full biodiversity map of the forest. Planet Wild's community funded 10 of these devices, plus a year of ranger patrols and 2 years of data analysis. This support helps protect 300 hectares of ancient forest. And this is just one of Planet Wild's projects, because every month we fund real-world missions like this, protecting ecosystems, restoring wildlife, and fighting pollution. But we don't just donate and hope. We actually see the impact. Every mission is documented and uploaded to YouTube, so you can see what your contribution helped achieve. You can give whatever amount feels right, big or small. If you want to check it out, the first 100 people using code GOOD5 get their first month free. You can scan the QR code on screen or just click the link in the description. And don't worry, you can cancel anytime. You will see your impact in less than 30 days here on YouTube. If you want to see them in action first, check out their mission protecting ancient forests in Romania. Now we head west to the Balkans, where Croatia has finally declared itself free of landmines. In 1946, just after World War II, the socialist state of Yugoslavia was created in Eastern Europe. Its members included Montenegro, Serbia, Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia and Croatia. But between 1991 and 1995, Yugoslavia broke up in a violent war of independence. Hundreds of thousands of landmines were placed across Croatia. Tragically, since 1996, over 600 innocent people have been injured or killed by leftover landmines. Croatia began the huge task of removing these deadly devices after they achieved independence at the end of the war. They spent over $1 billion on metal detectors, equipment and specially trained dogs. And now, after 30 years, the country has just declared itself free of landmines. All in all, they have removed over 400,000 explosives. What an amazing achievement! Great news for gender equality now, because more women than ever have leadership positions in the top companies in France. Only 31% of leadership positions worldwide are filled by women. There are still many obstacles that stop women from advancing. In 2026, they still receive less career support and fewer promotion opportunities in general. And outdated gender stereotypes are still holding them back. The CAC 40 is a list of the 40 largest publicly traded companies in France. Each one has a board of directors. A board of directors decides the strategy and direction of a business. Traditionally, this has been a very male-dominated field in France. Back in 2011, only 15% of board directors were women. But in that same year, the French government passed this law to do something about it. It required 40% of board directors to be women. And the latest figures show this has finally been achieved and more. Now, 46% of board directors are female. And this is not the only good news. Boards of directors are the ones that hire executives. And executives are the managers that oversee the day-to-day operation of the business. But at the end of 2021, less than 20% of these roles were held by women in CAC 40 companies. It's why this sister law was introduced the same year. It requires companies with over 50 employees to publish a gender equality index. It tracks differences in salary, promotions and raises between men and women. But the main goal of the law was to have 30% of executive positions in CAC companies filled by women by March 1st, 2026. So, did they do it? Almost. The figure now sits at 28.8%, meaning the magic 30% is within reach. The next milestone is 40% by March 1st, 2029. Let's take a look at another encouraging story for our planet. Because solar panels may last twice as long as we thought. Solar power is a vital part of the green energy revolution. But they are not without their critics. Solar panels are outside 24/7, which makes them vulnerable to frost, heat, wind and dust. Like any piece of hardware, they degrade and lose their efficiency over time. In other words, the power you receive 10 years down the line will be less than what you are receiving now. However, a new study has just seriously weakened this point. You see, all previous surveys on this topic have been limited by time and size. On average, they only lasted between 2 to 7 years. And the most solar installations monitored at one time was 4,200. But this is nothing compared to what German and British researchers just did. They studied the condition of over 1 million solar installations over a 16-year period. This is by far the longest study on this topic ever made. And the results show something surprising. In fact, what they found was shocking, in the best possible way. The average yearly degradation rate of the solar panels was between 0.5 and 0.6%. That's about half the average reported in all previous studies. The record length of the project also revealed another fascinating finding. We have known for years that heat, frost, rain and air pollution deteriorate solar panels. This latest study revealed that this happens at a different rate depending if they are older or newer models. Solar panels degrade faster when they are new, and the decline gets slower as they age. They found that extreme heat gets more damaging over time, while frost and pollution affect the condition of newer panels more. Before this study, Germans thought that they would need 4.5 gigawatts of additional solar panels every year to maintain maximum power. But now it's estimated they only need 2.3 gigawatts. 1 gigawatt of solar energy costs almost $1 billion to install. So Germany is literally going to save billions. Alright, now to something a bit more personal. And something a lot of you have actually been asking for. A few months ago, I set myself a goal. Well, actually 2 goals. The first, at the end of September, I want to run the Berlin Marathon. And I want to finish in under 3 hours 15 minutes. 188. Which is definitely not easy, but honestly I think this is the smaller challenge. Because the second one, I can't really do alone. I want to raise 3,000 euros for the WWF to support nature and wildlife. A lot of you have been asking me in the comments if there's a way to directly support the projects that we cover here on Good News. And well, this is it. Since 1970, animal populations worldwide have dropped by around 70%. But the WWF has spent over 60 years slowing that down, protecting habitats, fighting illegal hunting, and pushing governments to act. For example, in the Amazon, WWF helped protect an area of rainforest roughly the size of France. This area is home to thousands of species, including jaguars, giant otters, sloths and pink river dolphins. Over the next few months, I will be documenting my training and share bits of it here on Good News and of course on Strava. And I will share the marathon itself here on Good News. If you want to be part of this project, just click the link in the description or scan the QR code somewhere here or somewhere here. Alright, now back to more good news. Because child labor cases in the Philippines have dropped by over a third in just 2 years. In 2022, there were over 800,000 working children in the Philippines. The main reason is poverty, because poor families often feel they have to put their kids to work in order to survive. This is where the Filipino government has stepped in. Most of the poorest people in the Philippines are self-employed. So for over 15 years, this program has been helping out. It provides financial and material aid to struggling parents and guardians. If your business is failing or you want to start a new one, they will give you money and equipment. 47,000 Filipino families received this vital assistance between 2022 and 2025. This has allowed them to send their kids to school where they belong. Another initiative, called Project Angel Tree, has also made a huge impact. Since 2022, over 59,000 children have been given food, clothing, hygiene kits and educational materials donated by the general public. And all of this good work has really paid off. The Filipino Department of Labor and Employment just released their latest report. Between 2022 and 2024, about 320,000 children were removed from employment. That's a 38.5% decrease in just 2 years. The Filipino president now wants to completely eliminate child labor by 2028. In the Philippines, less children are working, and worldwide, less children are dying, because child mortality has gone down significantly. The death of a child is one of the biggest tragedies. But what makes it even more heartbreaking is that many of these deaths are actually preventable with basic medical care. Over the last few decades, nations across the world have made this a top priority. And one of the biggest areas of focus has been healthcare. Most newborn deaths are caused by infections, complications during birth, or babies being born prematurely. So, there have been major improvements in care both before and after birth. That includes things like skilled birth delivery, essential newborn care, and medical support for small and sick newborns. There has also been huge investment in vaccination programs. Childhood vaccines can prevent up to 30 potentially deadly diseases. And we can already see the difference it makes. Since 1990, newborn deaths have dropped by 45%. And child mortality for children under 5 has fallen by an incredible 60% over the same period. Just look at that graph. The focus now is improving survival rates in places like Sub-Saharan Africa and Southern Asia, which still have the highest number of infant deaths. But even so, these regions also had some success. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, child mortality has nearly been cut in half over the last 35 years. Which brings us to our last story. The DRC has just defeated a monkeypox outbreak after 2 years. Monkeypox is a viral disease, usually found in parts of Central and West Africa. But despite the name, no one actually knows where it came from. Rats, monkeys, and other mammals can carry the virus. Humans can catch it through contact with these infected animals. It can also spread from person to person through close, intimate contact, like kissing. The most obvious sign is a rash, which can appear on the hands, feet, chest, face, or genitals. Other symptoms include fever and muscle aches. In rare cases, the disease can be deadly, especially for young children and pregnant women. Over the past 2 years, the DRC has been at the center of a major monkeypox outbreak that killed more than 2,000 people. The situation became so serious that in 2024, the WHO declared a global health emergency after the virus spread into neighboring countries. In response, 16 African nations, including the DRC, received vaccine shipments from the WHO to help contain the outbreak. Public health campaigns, rapid medical assessments, and disease prevention measures were rolled out across affected countries. And now there's finally some good news. The DRC's health minister has just confirmed that there have been no new cases for months. Now I feel much better. Do you think the Philippines can eliminate child labor by 2028? Let me know in the comments below. Huge thank you to all of our channel members and of course to Planet Wild for making this possible. If you want to support projects like the one in Romania, you can scan the QR code or use the link below. And if you're curious about how they are protecting the forest there, you can watch the video right here. Also, thank you for supporting my marathon. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!